Welcome back to Breslov campus. Amazing insights from Rav Noson's writings on the greatness of tzaddikim, specifically after they pass away. The wording of the Gemara is like this: tzaddikim bemitatam kruim chayim, which translates as tzaddikim in their passing are called alive, living, which means that tzaddikim never really die. What that means on a practical level is this gives basis to the very fundamental custom of going to pray by graves of tzaddikim, because the presence of the tzaddik is found by his grave. He's considered technically alive. So by going to these graves, even though you're not necessarily speaking openly with a dialogue and getting back feedback directly from the tzaddikim, nevertheless davening to Hashem, praying to Hashem by the graves of tzaddikim affords a lot, because the energy of the tzaddikim are still alive, is still there, and can help a person be boosted in their prayers much more. And also requesting the tzaddikim to daven on our behalf, which by the way is fundamental in Judaism, as is brought down in the Gemara with Kalev himself, who went to the graves of the patriarchs in Hebron, and the Gemara says clearly that Kalev asked Avram, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, please daven for me. Not that he was davening to the tzaddikim, God forbid, but he was asking them to daven on his behalf, that he should be saved from the advice of the spies, the meraglim. So now, with that said, that's the simple translation of this phrase. Rav Noson goes a step further. We know in the Kabbalah, or we should know now in the Kabbalah, that we possess five levels of souls. We have what's called a nefesh, a lower soul, which has a human counterpart in the blood. Ki adam wa nefesh, the blood is the soul. That's what the pasuk says. Next is the ruach, the spirit, which is mainly located in the heart, right? V'ruach nachon chadesh b'kirbi, King David says in Tehillim, right? Ruach lev tahor barali elokim, a pure heart create for me, within me, my creator. And ruach nachon, and a proper spirit, chadesh b'kirbi, renew within me. The fact that it's juxtaposed to lev tahor is showing, and there's many other verses and proofs also, by the way, the spirit is corresponding to the heart. On a physical counterpart, the oxygen coming into the blood system from the lungs, which goes first of all into the heart, and the heart pumps the oxygenated blood throughout. That oxygen is this physical counterpart to the ruach, the spirit. It gives you the movement. It feeds the movement of the nefesh. Then there's the upper soul called the neshama. The neshama is located mainly in the brain, corresponds to the faculty of understanding, the brain's ability to understand things. Then this understanding is sent into the heart, but that's the physical counterpart to the brain. Then there's two upper souls which we barely have contact with. One is called chaya, which means a life force, a life source, and yechida, which means a unique essence, singular. Now, those two upper levels are tapped into by the very, very great tzaddikim. The chaya by many tzaddikim, but the yechida by very few. It's very narrowed down to maybe one tzaddik in a generation. At the level of Moshe Rabbeinu himself, those few tzaddikim, one in a generation, tap into that high level called the yechida. There's no physical counterpart to them, so it's something way above. But the chaya, the Kabbalah teaches, this life force, this fourth soul, corresponds to chokhmah, which means knowledge. Chokhmah is in chaya, and it's unattainable. Rather, the chokhmah, the knowledge, filters into the neshama, which we said is called bina. So many tzaddikim, normally they tap into the chaya in their passing. And this is what Rav Noson explains. The Gemara says, tzaddikim bemitatam kruim chayim, tzaddikim in their passing, are they now called chayim, alive, meaning they tap in full force to this fourth level of neshama called chaya. In other words, they attain source of knowledge. What that benefits us is that me being a searching soul, looking for guidance from Hashem, looking for the proper information to feed my neshama, to feed my faculty of understanding, I want to make sure that I'm getting the proper knowledge filtered into inside myself that will then allow my neshama to flourish, my understanding, the bina in my neshama, which will eventually lead to the ruach and the nefesh, the spirit and the lower soul. So now, the Gemara is saying, tzaddikim, when they pass away, their graves, in other words, they merit to be considered one with the chaya. That's when they tap in fully to the fourth level of the soul, which is a source of chokhmah. So when an average Jew comes to the graves of tzaddikim, he's basically shining their chaya, their fourth soul of these tzaddikim, into the person who's coming to daven, into his neshama, into his bina. Which means, on a practical level, that when a person is lacking advice, he doesn't know what to do, he's frustrated in life, he doesn't know who to turn to, he doesn't know even which rabbi to ask. There's so many people to turn to, and he's so getting mixed messages, mixed answers. One person says, oh, do like this, one other person says, do like this, one rabbi says, yes, do the surgery, one doctor says, no, don't do it, yes, no, and a person is so confused, they're not comforted, and not, they're not going with what's coming to them, they're not consoled, they're not yet able to accept anything because it's all upside down. When these situations happens, it is very, very beneficial, Rav Nosson says, to go to graves of tzaddikim, because the source of the chaya, the fourth soul, which is chokhmah, pure knowledge, is to be found by the graves of tzaddikim. And by me, a simple person, going there, just the fact that I make that effort to go there, this enables me to gain proper understanding of what I'm going through in life, proper understanding of what decisions to make, just by going to graves of tzaddikim and davening to Hashem there. So these tzaddikim shine their chaya, their life force, which is the chokhmah, into the recipient, the person who's coming to daven there.